Hello everybody, welcome back to Miss B's Plan B. It's lovely to see you. I hope that you're well. Today we're going to be entering the wonderful world of birds and thinking about how we can learn more about different bird species. And we're going to start off by thinking about how we can identify them based on how they sound. Now that's quite a challenging thing to do, but the good thing is the more you practice, the easier it gets. And it's something you could actually do from indoors, because you could do it from your window, because you can hear it usually through your window, or you could do it from your garden if you're lucky enough to have one, or whilst you're out on a walk in your local area if you've got a park or maybe a wood nearby. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by really focusing on our breathing and slowing it down, because as we relax more, it will actually help us to tune in to what is happening around us a lot better. Because so often we rush, we live in such busy worlds that we often don't stop and just listen and appreciate our surroundings. What we're going to do is we're going to practice a really good technique for calming us down and really focusing on our breathing. And what we do is we breathe in through our nose and then we exhale, so breathe out through our mouth. So in through the nose and out through the mouth. And keep going, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And what I want you to do is when you exhale through your mouth, I want you really to make a big whooshing sound as you get rid of all that stale air in your lungs. And what's really good to practice is try to breathe in, say for 2, and then double the exhale. So breathe out for double the amount of time. So if you're breathing in for 2, try and exhale for 4. As you practice more, you might find you can breathe in for 3 and then exhale for 6 and so on. So I want you to practice really breathing deeply, and it's important to be sat comfortably for this and nice and relaxed, and just do what's comfortable for you, because otherwise you might feel a bit lightheaded. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice some deep breathing for 1 minute, and during that time I'm going to play some bird song, because I'd like you to really tune in to the sound of the birds. And I also want you just to think about how you feel when you're doing the deep breathing. And you might even like to try closing your eyes, because you'll find that by closing your eyes, it really improves your hearing. Okay, you focus in on that sense. So you might want to try that. So I'm actually going to time 1 minute. So I need you to get ready, sitting comfortably, ready to do some deep breaths for 1 minute, listening to the birds, ready and go. Your eyes and just take a moment, just think about how you're feeling now, and hopefully you're thinking, oh, actually I feel really relaxed from that and really good. So that's a useful technique you can use just to calm yourself down and just make you feel a bit more relaxed and less stressed. So what you might also be thinking is, oh, when's the best time to listen to birds? Definitely it helps if there are not too many people around, because people can scare the birds away. But something I find really useful is to try and catch the birds when they are doing their dawn chorus. Now, this is something you may or not know about. It's all in this lovely book called Slow Down, written by Rachel Williams. And I'm just going to share some of the information with you because I find it fascinating. So, the dawn chorus is something that birds perform just before the sun comes up. And what happens is the birds come together and they sing. It's almost like they're welcoming in the light of the day. And in the dim light of dawn, Okay, because it's not a good time yet for the birds to be feeding, what they do is they start almost singing and competing with each other, because they're trying to show that this is their territory, and some of them are singing to try and attract a mate. What's really interesting is as you learn more about the dawn chorus, you will find that different birds join it at different times. So for example, just about an hour before sunrise, birds like robins and blackbirds begin the chorus, so they're the first birds you will hear. These birds tend to be the first to sing because their larger eyes are more sensitive, allowing them to see in the early morning light. So that's an interesting fact. Whereas birds, such as the seed eaters, which have smaller eyes like sparrows, they actually are one of the last birds to join the chorus. So that's quite an interesting fact that I think, is interesting, that, you can be listening to the bird song and think actually different birds are joining the chorus as we approach the dawn. So that's something you might like to try, especially as you don't have to get up so early in the winter for you to be up for dawn, which is a good thing. What we're going to think about next is how can we identify different bird species. So I want you thinking, what different features could you look at that help you to identify birds? How many different ones can you think of? Right, look at the birds behind to give you some clues. Let's have a think. So, you might think, right, I can identify birds based on their size, their shape, their colour, things like the colour of their eye, the size of their eyes, the size and shape of their beak. You might even think, where does the bird live? Because some of the birds aren't native to some parts of the world. For example, this is a laughing kookaburra, so unless you're in Australia, you wouldn't expect to see it in the wild. And these are a macaw and a toucan, which, unless you're in the Amazon rainforest, okay, you wouldn't just expect to see them in the wild. So it depends where you are. Even within the United Kingdom, bird species are different depending whereabouts you're looking. So that's an important factor. Experts can even identify birds based on their song, and you will get better at that if you practice. You might be thinking, but how do I learn the song? You're really lucky, because if you go onto the RSPB, the Royal Society for the Protection of Bird website, they've actually got sound clips for the different birds that you might find in the UK. So that's an amazing website you can visit, and I'll put the link in the description so you can look at that if you want to. What we're going to think about today is we're going to have a go at making our own bird, and I'm going to teach you how to make a simple origami bird. Now, there are lots of different origami birds out there to be made, but I'm going to teach you a very simple step to making one, so that you can make it, and then you might think, actually, I found that quite easy, and then you could look online and find a more complex design. So we're going to start with this. So here goes. First of all, you will need a square of paper that's about, it depends, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, it's about 20.5 centimetres squared. And the reason it's that size is because most people have the A4 printing paper that they put in their printers at home, so A4 paper, and what you can do is you could either measure 20.5 centimetres, okay, and mark where that comes, mark with the dots, join them up and draw a line, and then cut that off to make a square. Or if you don't want to measure, a simple technique you can use is get one corner, fold it until it lines up with the edge of the paper, so it's like that, okay, and you've made a square, and then you cut off that flap there. So once you've got your square of paper, that's the first step, then I'm going to show you step by step how to make your lovely origami bird. So now I'm going to show you the step-by-step guide to how to make an origami paper bird. So first of all, you should have your square of paper ready. Okay, that's step one, get your square of paper. Step two, I'd like you to fold the paper in half by folding the top corner to the bottom corner. So do that very carefully, the top corner to the bottom corner. Fold that down. Remember, if at any point you get a bit stuck or unsure, please just pause the video and just catch up, or otherwise you can rewind it to help. That's the next step 2. So fold it in half. Then what I'd like you to do is fold part of the top down. So get this long edge here, the top bit, and you're going to fold it about halfway down. And this, you don't want this bit to be too thin because this flap is going to become the wings. So take that edge and fold it about halfway down and push nice and firmly across like that. Okay, step 3. Then for step 4, we're going to turn the paper over like that, and then we're going to take the bottom corner of just the top layer. So notice the bottom layer is still there. I'm going to take just the bottom corner of the top layer and fold it up like this. So again, about halfway between these 2 bits here, I'm going to fold it up like that. And that's step 5. Okay, then moving on to step 6, now I'm going to fold all of it in half. So get one of the points and fold it over like that, so the points meet together, and push down firmly. Excellent. Push, 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 push. Okay, you need to give it quite a good push because we've folded a lot of paper there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to fold the top flap back, okay, to make one of the wings. So this is a bit like when you're making a paper aeroplane. So I'm going to get the top flap only, and I'm going to fold it back like this, okay, like when you're making a paper aeroplane. Push it back, and there is one side. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the other wing in the opposite direction. Whoops, sorry. So this wing in the opposite direction. My bird's going to take flight already. Okay, it's like that. So I've got my 2 wings. Now, the final step is I'm going to do a reverse fold to make my beak. And this is where it's a little bit tricky, but it's just practice and you just need to watch very closely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my beak, okay, which is going to be here, and I'm going to push down on the fold, and you actually do what's called a reverse fold, and you'll find it actually pushes down in the middle and creates a thing called a reverse fold. So you've actually got your beak poking out like that there, a reverse fold. Okay, so that's the final step, and then you have your lovely bird ready for decorating. Okay, so remember, at any point if you need to, just pause the video or go back and rewind it, and then you'll have your very own bird. And it's at this point you can then get your colouring pencils or pastels. I find things like pencils and pastels are better for adding lots more detail, and you can do that to your bird. So I hope you enjoy that. So I hope you've enjoyed making your origami bird. Once you've done that, you might want to revisit the RSPB website, or if you've got some bird books at home, you might want to have a look at the pages and think, right, what type of bird would I like to make it into? Okay, doesn't matter, it's not exactly the same shape, okay, because this bird is a bit like a sort of pigeon or dove shape, but you can make it into another one. So, for example, I know in my garden we get quite a lot of blue tits, and I think they're really lovely and colourful birds. So I have actually made mine into a blue tit, and what I've done is I've added the colours. Okay, I've coloured in the blue head and the black marking across the eye, and marked on the feathers, and I've done the same on the underside as well. Okay. And then what you can do is you can hang up your bird, and you've got your beautiful origami bird to decorate. Could be decorating your house or your bedroom. You might think, oh, actually I enjoyed making that bird. I wonder if there are other ways I can make a bird. And yes, there are. That could be a challenge. How many different ways could you find to make a bird? I'm going to show you some of my favourite. I love this one. I folded a piece of paper in half and cut it, and then stuck it onto a stick which I decorated because I thought they would look really lovely in plant pots around my house. So I'll just explain again. I just drew half a bird on a piece of paper, cut around it so it was symmetrical, and then I had my bird. put it on a stick, and I've got that. I also thought, you know, I like making use of any waste. So I also found some old socks of mine that were getting holey, and I thought, right, I could turn that into a bird. So that might be something you might like to do. And another challenge I'm going to give myself today is I finished off my bag of porridge, and I thought, actually, I'll turn my bag inside out, because once I did that, I suddenly thought, oh, that reminds me a bit of the shape of an owl. So that's going to be my challenge for today. Can I transform this old bag into an owl? Because I know I've done that before with an envelope, and that works quite well. So I hope you have lots of fun making some birds. Whilst you're doing it, like I say, really pay attention to the features and try and make them as accurate as possible when you're transferring them onto your bird, because then that will help you when you come to identifying bird species. So I hope you have enjoyed learning more about birds, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care and goodbye.